Starting to look like the back of a pair of jeans, isn't it? Okay, now that the bum is done, we gotta do the fronts. So a little bit complicated. Well, yeah, they're kind of complicated. Not incredibly, but the pocket assembly is a bit of a pain in the dick. So, we start with just these two pieces. See? They line up really nicely. They get attached on two seams, but not on all three. And they're not going to be done and turned around and they're not going to be done and turned inside out and top stitch or anything like that. These are internal pieces. You don't have to see anything about them. Nobody has to see them. And you want them to stay flat and comfortable. Which means we're going to do a 1/4 inch on them to keep the pocket as big as possible. Try and keep this as straight as I can. Just get it to the corner and we'll be good. Because after we do this, we have to switch machines and serge it. That is a little bit shy. I don't like it. I don't like how that turned out on that corner, so we cut it, we do it from the other direction on the other side. Know what we're seeing. Turns out I was about 1/8 of an inch off on measuring and cutting that piece, which does not make me happy. I am not a fan of making a mistake, but I own up to that mistake and correct it in the process. That way, the mistake doesn't affect the end result. I'll try to hide the mistake, except that there was one, and I fix it. Let's double that back, 1 stitch, then reinforce it from this side. So the bottom of the pocket is now double stitched. Now, the reason I'm only doing 2 sides is because this piece, this little flap here, will be closed in under the waistband. This will be stitched in and folded into the opening of the pocket, and this will be closed on the side seam. So this will be closed on the side seam, so they don't need to be done right now, just the strengthening of the bottom portion of the pocket. I'll bring it over to the serger and I'll show you up there. I had tea yesterday. Set that out of the way. That's already out of the way. We'll crank up the light. Put you where you can see. Should do it about there. Yeah. Let's crank this one and see what happens. Like a wobbly spaceship special effect with this thing, but yeah, what the hell. Do this up proper. To do this up proper, we start here. And we're going to be cutting off the excess outside of that stitch plate there. This is again to reinforce and strengthen the pockets as much as possible. We want them to be super fucking strong. I know guys put in their pockets on a pair of pants. I don't know what a girl's gonna put in her pockets. They usually don't have them, so got to be ready for anything. There we go. Okay, we can shut this down for right now. Turn off the machine. Set you back over here. We got a fun part now. One of the interesting things. Okay. Show you over here. That is the pocket. The top edge of where the pocket's going to be on the larger piece. This pocket, which is going to end up in here, has to start out being stitched on out here. So that has to be stitched in place, and then it has to be flipped through and top stitched and double top stitched, which will make the top edge of the pocket. After that, this whole panel will be done. So let's do that. Back here, give you as much of a view as I can. I gotta go get my chair again. Because of the curve, I'll show you a trick right after I do the stitch row at a 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This curve does not make it easy, which, it's not a problem. I mean, it can do the job, but this curve on the pocket plate is a necessary evil. And it is fucking evil. Make sure everything sits flat underneath and doesn't wrinkle up. Make sure everything on top sits flat and doesn't wrinkle up. Once you're past this curve, life gets easier. There. Now for the easy part. Lying that flat and stitching it in. And it is going to oversize by a touch, but that's fine. Like I said, fabric is forgiving. If this were steel or wood, it wouldn't be so forgiving, but it's fabric. And I always build in extra. My own safety. Now, in order to make this fold in the opposite direction properly without bunching up or causing problem, there's a trick. This is an unpick. It's a damn sharp one. You go a blade width above the stitch row. I don't know how well you can see that, but a blade width above the stitch row into the seam allowance. Punch through, cut. That makes a little V like that. You make a few of those along the actual curve. And it becomes much easier to reverse the seam and stitch it. See, now it'll sit flat. So we reverse the seam, we do our double top stitch, just like we did on the ass out of pants. I don't know if anybody's ever going to be following this along and taking instruction or whatever, but I'd like to think I'm a decent teacher, at least. Or not a terrible teacher. I don't know. There. I'm going to peel that out. Looks like I broke my top thread. I'm going to pin this down to keep it flat because it seems to be shifting a lot under me and I don't like that. I'm going to get this ball of pins here so I can do this. The next one will be here. It's good and solid and straight. Just like I need it to be. Exactly what I require in the situation. A straight line. Tight stitch and a straight line. That's all I ask. I don't generally get that, but there are things I do get which work out. Before France invented herpes. Okay. Now, we're going to take the hook, go through the needle, hook the thread. I'm going to buy proper, I have to do a supply run soon, I'm going to buy proper threading tools, because these, although they work, are shit. I prefer the loop, not the hook. Just for the sake of my own sanity. Okay, so I'm going to start here, overlapping the previous stitching by a good inch and a half. Let's use the same trick we did on back pockets. Completely reverse this to top it, or to top stitch it. So 2 down. And follow that. Previous seam. Match that curve. Again, curves, on this machine anyway, are a pain. Little bit of a pain in any case. Not deathly painful, but painful enough that you don't want to do it. But it needs to be done. get this done. I'll show you the result. And there we go. We could stitch or pin the last couple of pieces, or the last couple of seams to solidify it all together, but at the moment, I'll just show you what it looks like put together. Looks like that. This is all going to be seamed up. That's going to be a really thick seam. Inside, come on, fucking lay flat there. That's going to be seamed up inside. This is going to be seamed up inside. And because these are going to be domed to curve of the body, it's all going to sit flat. Trust me, it's going to look good. So, like that, we got the front pocket on a pair of jeans. So I'll do that again on this side, and I'll bring you back.